So to kick things off, we have the last of today's TAC updates. So we have a bunch of people on our team that are focused on various open source resources, our infrastructure, tax website, and Jared Ondricek leads this team. So please welcome to the stage a tax software development lead, Jared Ondricek.
All right, well, thank you, Adam, and hello, everyone. As mentioned, I'm Jared Ondricek. In addition to being the software development lead for the attack team here at MITRE, just throwing out one thing about myself before digging in, is that I really am an avid open source advocate. I figure since I've been benefiting from a lot of open source software over the years, that I've also, in the last several years, begun to contribute a lot more as well, specifically out on GitHub. So you can find me there. And I feel like that is one of the reasons that sort of helped me enjoy my time on the attack team, leading the software development efforts. Specifically, everything you see here on the screen that my team manages is open source and available on GitHub. So you can take a look at what we provide to the community. Specifically, what I'm going to dive into here are improvements made to the website in the last year and a half since last ATT&CKcon, Navigator updates for the Attack Navigator, the detailed attack changelog, which I am unreasonably excited about, and the workbench contributions and updated documentation. So diving into that, I'm gonna wait for that to finish. Or maybe we'll just talk about the classic search experience for a second on attack.mitre.org. There were some issues with it historically, where it would take a long time. Some of the technical reasons for that is really not worth diving into everything, but it wouldn't really begin to index the search required until you clicked on the search box, and then it would reset some of the internals there, every single page that you visited, so it would it'd take an additional 40 to 120 seconds. Regardless, though, in March of this year, we did make some updates so that it is near instantaneous, where the index is loaded on the initial page load the first time you come to the website, and it only needs to be loaded one time per attack release. So the long story short is that search should just work now, which I'm unreasonably excited about this as well. I'm unreasonably excited about many things. So we'll just move right on past the website search improvements. Also, we have some smaller features, even things like being able to resize the sidebar for people on their desktops with ultra-wide monitors. There was an issue where the sidebar would take up felt like half of the screen, and so we've made that slight tweak. Really, some minimal things in the grand scope of website development, but one worth noting here that came out just a couple months ago. While that's only available on the desktop, we also attempted to improve the mobile navigation, where specifically on the groups and software pages on the website, if you're on mobile, you would see these small groups of 13 small groups combined by letter that were not fully collapsible. So as you were navigating throughout the website on mobile, you would have to scroll past it each time. Whereas just last month, we've been able to fully collapse it, and you're able to just more quickly get to the information that you're looking for while still navigating through groups and software pages on the website. Moving on to Attack Navigator, there have been a lot of just standard updates as Attack itself introduced mobile sub-techniques and campaigns last year. As you would expect, the Navigator itself also needed to keep up the pace, and so we introduced those into Attack Navigator so that you can see them there. Additionally, Attack Workbench, which is a tool that I'll be talking about in just another couple slides here. If you have your own Attack Workbench instance where you're editing your own attack data, then you can use that as an upline source for Attack Navigator. So that was added last year. And that also made it possible so that when you're creating navigator layers, instead of only being able to start with the basic attack content, once again, if you have your own sticks bundles or workbench collections, you can use that to create navigator layers as well. Coming into this year, we have continued to address more things from our backlog, but the two specific ones on the next slides here that I want to go over are the download workflow functionality and adding assets. So let's take a look. I believe the animations got a little out of order here, but let's just talk about the Attack Navigator menu bar. If anyone has used Attack Navigator, whether it's your first impression or your most recent impression, you might feel like you're overwhelmed by the menu bar with all of the icons that are there. I know I am. So there were 3 different icons up there at the top where you can download different things: JSON, Excel files, or SVG files. And while we still have them, in the release that will be next week, we are going to it's going to be a drop down, currently looks like this. And in addition to being able to download in those formats still, you can also download them with all of the tabs that are open. You can have multiple tabs open in Attack Navigator. And so now you can just do all your work and then download it once. Specifically, this checkbox here that says only download annotations on visible techniques was a long-standing request as well for Navigator, where if you are using Navigator and you have done a lot of annotation, you filtered down to exactly what you're looking at, and then you download the JSON file to have your annotations, it would download everything. And so this checkbox allows you, when you're downloading that layer file, to only download annotations for what you see on the screen. So that is exciting for everyone that's looking for that. And moving on to the assets in this sidebar for Navigator, when you're searching, just like we added campaigns recently, we've added assets there as well. So you'll be able to see that if you're looking for that starting next week. The detailed attack changelog. So here is what it looks like. The historic changelog would show you what new techniques are there or what has been changed, but this shows you a little more depth of detail, the descriptions that are there. As the demo here is going into, you can see of the minor version changes, you can see specifically what text was added, modified, or deleted with the green, yellow, or red text there. And if you're really interested in the sticks specifics, then there is a much more nuanced description of what sticks fields have been modified. And also up here at the top of the changelog, you can see that you can download this not only as not only see this as the ugly HTML page that I designed personally, but also as a JSON file. Moving on to Workbench. So Attack Workbench, as I mentioned earlier, is a tool that you can stand up yourself. The code is on GitHub. It is a Center for Threat Informed Defense tool that the attack team makes use of a lot ourselves internally, but other people can use it as well, as it's out on GitHub and released there. We've made a lot of bug fixes and feature improvements to it since we're using it ourselves to edit our own data before bringing it out to yourselves. So just a few things that we've added since last year. So in the 1.2.0 release, we added the ability to authenticate with OIDC. We added a reference manager page, which allows us, when we're documenting all of the citations as thing across attack, to be documented and cited publicly or with common knowledge. So all of those are able to be managed on that reference manager page in the Workbench, as well as adding campaign support. In this year, we actually produced the 2.0 release of Attack Workbench. And as part of that, we added the ability to create and manage teams. where you can see the recent activity to see who is doing what. That's the picture on the bottom there. And also added the ability to start off with instead of just a workbench collection, which is specific to that, you could start with a CSV or an Excel file by uploading it in the top picture there in the red box. Finally, moving on to some of the other updates we have. So there's a Python library that we maintain called the MITRE ATT&CK Python library that has a lot of really useful utilities, Python scripts that are part of it. And in order to eventually replace what is some of the documentation on the github.com/MITRE/CTI usage.md documentation, there is a new read the docs documentation site that we have, which should help provide that we use ourselves, and should help you find extra examples of how to find things like get technique ID by sticks ID or get group by technique. There, we have a lot of examples, so I encourage you to check that out on our new documentation site, which we're continuing to update for ourselves and for the community. And just to recap on everything that I was just going over, there's the website, Navigator, the detailed changelog, etc. There is a lot more that the team manages. So if you have any specific questions about GitHub or any of the tools that the team manages, feel free to reach out. You can contact me. There it is. So, yeah.
And I gotta say, I am also unreasonably excited about the search feature. So thank you. And on behalf of everyone, including the internal team, thanks to you and your team for not only keeping us from manually patching sticks, as fun as that sounds, but also keeping our website up pretty and kind of keeping all of this together. So thank you.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we have time for maybe one question. Okay, over here. Not directly within the data model, but the Center for Threat Informed Defense, CTID, did an offline mapping available in their GitHub. Yeah. I think there might, you might want to find John Baker. I think there's some ideas about a next phase of that project, but it's not something that we control. So small token of our appreciation. And again, if anyone has any questions for Jared, obviously there's Slack channels, but also feel free to submit GitHub issues. Probably the best place to reach you.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.